Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be showing you a quick overview and review of Everdell Farshore. So this is their latest game that uses the main mechanics of Everdale while adding some changes that makes it very different at the same time. They want it to be similar because it's meant to be part of the Everdale. Basically, these critters are also part of Everdale, but they're a different part of Everdale is how I read it. So you're basically, the same mechanics are you're drafting cards from the middle or the deck. You have critters, you choose your critters. I chose the crabs, and he has the puffers, I think.
Puffers.
And then there's ducks, or puffins, ducks and beavers. So you've got 4 critters to choose from, and it's a worker placement game just like Everdale, where you're putting your critters on certain spaces on the board. Most spaces are only one critter can fit. If there's one webbed foot, one critter can fit. If there's 3 webbed feet, it's unlimited. You also have these islands. You put one island per player. Eventually you'll be turning them over and during one of those season preparations, and you won't be able to use them any longer. But these are also one critter, and there's a stack of different ones. You just pick them at random, and they also give you resources. So just like in Everdale, you are gathering resources. You need specific resources to pay to play the cards. All the critters cost mushrooms. The mushrooms are the resources in this game are driftwood, seawood, sea stones, and mushrooms. So everything's sea themed. So in the upper or kind of middle left there, it tells you the cost to play that card. It still uses the same card types as far as where they have the little hobo bag, the plant, the end game. It uses the same icons for that. So if you're familiar with Everdale, and if not, it's in the book of when those take place. They added map tiles where you were trying to collect as many of those as you can by placing, you have to place your critter here to collect them. But as you can see, the points go down as a player takes them, but it's based on the type of cards in your city that you're creating in your tableau. Based on, so if you get 4 of the ones with the green production plant, you can get that one. There's the in-game ones that have a little paw print. If you have 3 of those type cards in your tableau, you can collect that one. And the way those work, as you can see, the top one is 2 points times each map tile. So you can, if you have a lot of those, you can really rack up quite a few points. Anthony had 3 of the 2 times, so he had 18 points because you multiplied 2 by 3 different times. So the more of these you have, the better. You want to be the first one if you can, because you'll get 2 points per map tile. After that point, it's 1 point. And this isn't a 2-player game. In a 3-player game, I think you use the 2, 1, and 0. So I think the third, of course, you're not going to get any points for that one. But if you have others with points, it still counts towards your points on those map tiles, if that makes sense. It also adds the windrose tokens. These were pretty cool. You're changing those each season. And they have things like common. They're basically matching up to cards you're playing. So the word common for either common critter, common construction, it has to have the word common in the title of the card. If you match that, you get to, your ship starts here. You also get these little ships. You can move your ship 1 space. If you match both of them, there's A and B styles. The B ones match the types of cards, the icons. So in this particular one, it would be the one with the little hobo bag. So if you have played a card with the word common and it's the hobo bag style type, I can't remember the actual name of that, but you would get to move 2 spaces. So for each one of these you match when you play a card, every time you play a card, you get to move your ship forward either 1 or 2 spaces based on how many you matched of those. And as you sail, you will see little treasure chests. That means you can take a treasure token when you anytime you pass one of those or land on it, these can be used as a wild resource, or they're worth 2 points each at the end of the game. I probably could have won this game if I hadn't kept using mine as resources, because it was such a tight game.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
He beat me by 5 points. So if I know I spent at least 4 or 5 of these, I possibly could have won. But who knows? I used them to play cards, so I don't know. Maybe the cards, I wouldn't have gotten as many points without this card.
Just say you lost.
But so those are nice to have. So, because they give you, if you need a wild resource or if you collect them at the end of the game. They also added these seashell point tokens. I got 5 of those throughout the game because I had a card that allowed me to, off one of my cards on him, draw a new card and collect a point. So that happened at a specific time. I'm trying to remember when that one. I think it's when I played a certain type card. Yeah. I can't remember. It was somehow I was able to keep doing that, but I was able to collect these points that way, so that was a great way. For those are in-game points. So you're basically going to be constantly drafting cards, playing cards as much as you can, and hopefully progressing your ship. Your ship points, your ship also counts towards your points at the end of the game. Wherever you are on the selling, you add that many points to your in-game points. The most you can get is 60. If you ever get up to the 60, your ship is just stuck there. It won't go any further. But this was a fun game. At first I was skeptical because I was like, this is so similar to Everdale. Like it when I was reading through the instructions, but it's surprisingly, we actually liked it just as much, or maybe just slightly better than Everdale, and maybe it's just because it's something new. Because we still really like Everdale and still need to play all the expansions that we have for it. We haven't even played those yet, but it's very strategic, and it's you do gain critters. I didn't mention that at the preparing for each season. You gain 1 more of your critters. You only start with 2, but eventually you will have 5 at the end of the game. You'll have 5 critters. So each season, there's 4 seasons, just like in Everdale. You start out in winter, you end up in autumn, right? Or is it fall? I think it's autumn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's autumn. So each season you'll be preparing, and there's they have a little checklist that you do. One is getting your character, and you'll be changing over these windrose tiles, and there's certain things that you get to draw cards from the bay on some of them, from the deck on the other. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I covered all the new stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the anchor tokens. That's what I didn't mention. It also has anchor tokens. Each player gets 3. That's all you get for the entire game. They're very useful. You can only use them for critters, but you could use these to play a critter for free, so you don't have to worry about the resources. But once you've used them, they're done. You can't reuse them. So those came in very handy, especially at the beginning of the game when you're still building your resources. So if you see a really good critter out here, or you have one in your hand, it gives you the opportunity to play that early game. Or if you want to hold them to in-game, you want to play them because they're not worth anything at the end of the game. So it's not worth keeping them till the end of the game. You want to play them at strategic moments, or wait for those awesome cards that might take you a while, because there's some critters that take 5 mushrooms that would take you a while maybe to get that many mushrooms. So yeah, those came in really handy for me. And you're only allowed to have a total of 15 cards in your city. So you also want to be a little selective. I got a total of 13 in mine. So about this. Wow, you got 13 as well, right?
No.
Total
8 cards?
Oh, you had 11.
Yeah.
So he had 11, I had 13. So you could see we got pretty close to that. So.
And still lost.
Yeah. So what did you think of this game?
I'll go from the start. The pretty much the components, 5 out of 5. Just phenomenal components. Very impressed with the component quality. Like the little anchors and metal. The little shells are really cool. And then the mushrooms are kind of plastic. And so it's a little seaweed. And then the crystals. And then you get the little driftwood, which is wood. But the component quality, and illustration, card quality, just phenomenal. Very impressed. Just like Everdale, this is, for me, this feels more of a advanced component quality of, compared to Everdale, because it pretty much has some of the stuff that you would normally get like on Etsy and different stuff. So for me, component quality is phenomenal. So the mechanics, I really like the mechanics. I actually like this better than the original base game Everdale. This seems to have more strategic elements to it, with these two aspects that you're constantly trying to get or use your cards so you could move up the track. Also, I had that lighthouse, which is phenomenal for that. As you move on, you can move one more. You just discard a card. And so, really cool aspect to the game. Also, like the little paw prints, although we didn't use them because they didn't come up at the beginning of the game, so we weren't able to access that. But mechanic-wise, this is far superior than the Everdale. I think this is next level of complexity and strategic, because there is a lot more to micromanage and remember. So replayability, high replayability, because it's easy to set up. I mean, it only takes probably 5-10 minutes to set up, and it's, if you remember Everdale, once you actually play one game, it'll be easy to just remember what, how to play this game. I do wish that there was a player aid though that would
yeah, there wasn't a player aid. That was a little frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't think regular Everdale had a player aid too, but I think that they're more dependent on these aspects and the cards and everything, but they don't indicate anything under this or a lot of the information. So high replayability. Overall total, I think this is amazing. I think that I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I really liked it. I could see this game playing one after another in a day, playing like 2 or 3 times. Really cool game. I think this is going to be far superior than Everdale. I think people that play this or Everdale, they're going to probably pick this up more than the base game Everdale. Although the base game does have a lot of expansions, I think this will eventually pretty much overtake the original Everdale. So, highly recommend.
So I really enjoyed this game as well. And again, I went into it skeptical because I thought it was just another Everdale when I was reading through the instructions, until I really started diving into it and started playing it. Then I realized, oh, it is different. It's just the base mechanics are the same, which in a way makes it good, because if you like Everdale and you play Everdale, you're gonna pick it up very quickly because you already know the base mechanics. I love the ships. The ships are really nice.
Yeah.
And so the components are really good in this game. It's definitely more strategic because, like he said, you have the new map tiles and you have these windrose tokens, which give even more incentive to pick certain types of cards when you're picking. So, I mean, Everdale is strategic in general, but this just adds more. There is more to remember, because not only are you trying to remember things that trigger on your cards, that's what makes it so much more strategic. Because when you're picking these cards to play, you're not only thinking about what will this trigger in my city, because there's cards that trigger when you play certain types of cards, so that could really give you a windfall of resources and things. But you also want to focus on matching these, because moving up on this, your ship gets you the treasure tokens, and at the end of the game, your you have an advantage if you have the most points. I mean, he only beat me by 5 points, and we were 8 points difference on this thing. So there's a lot of different ways in this game to make up the points, which is nice as well. So if you're focused maybe on just, you know, pushing through your ship and not as much on your city, I don't know, maybe that's a strategy. I was kind of focusing on all of it, trying to balance it out. So yeah, there's a lot of different strategies you could go with in this game. And then of course these little seashell point tokens are a nice touch. It's I think there's probably several opportunities to get those. I got it through cards, but I'm sure there's several ones throughout that deck that mentions those, so you can get those tokens. But I would give this a 9. It's a strong 9 for me. We will definitely play this game again. We're trying to get Quentin to play with us, but he's into his video games, so it's hard to.
So which one you like better, this one or the base game?
I like them both. They're different enough to where it's 2 different games. I mean, the mechanics are the base mechanics are the same, but I like them both. I could either, like, you could ask me to play either one.
Oh yeah, they're both.
I would be ready to play
yeah.
it. So, and of course, I didn't show the tree. It comes, or lighthouse. Sorry, I keep calling it a tree. It comes with the lighthouse that you can build to put your critters on. Although they don't sit on there that well, especially if you were playing more than 2 players. It's more just for aesthetics, but it's a cool touch, I think, to the game. So we will put the link in the description. This is going right to retail, correct?
I can't remember.
Okay, I don't. It's coming out very soon. When we post this video, it will be out. And it's been a big secret. We can't even post this until the game comes out. So
or the unboxing.
Right. So we're excited for when you do see this video. It's definitely it's one you want to check out. So we will put the link in the description so you can check it out yourself. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a like. Feel free to leave a comment. If you're not already subscribed, we hope you'll subscribe to our channel. Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.